Okay, Oma, what is one of the earliest memories that you have that you like to remember?
Yeah, I was already 8 years old, because before that I don't remember. This is when my father came home from the war, 1945. Yeah, 8 years I was. And he came into the house and went to my grandfather, to the apartment. And I went to my mom and I said, a Russian guy, a Russian is my grandfather, go, go. So my mom went there in the room and I opened the door and I saw her kissing the Russian. And it was my father.
You didn't remember
This
that?
is your dad, yeah.
Do you remember what he did in the war? Like, do you know?
Yeah, he was driving a big truck, heavy duty truck with ammunition on supply. He didn't go, he didn't have to kill people and be a soldier.
Okay. Tell me about what you remember about your dad, or a favorite memory that you have.
Oh, my dad, you could have anything from him. If I wanted something, do something, or eat something special, you ask your father. And he could never say no, never. My mom was stricter. No, you don't eat that now, but this, I knew I went to the father first. And then my mom couldn't change it. You know what I mean? He couldn't change, but he allowed me. Yeah. We had, he had a little truck, like it was a truck with 3 wheels. I don't know how you call it in English. One in the front and 2 in the back. And there was a box, right? And he went, we had a vegetable store. And he went to the little villages with vegetable. And I went with, this is after the war, and when he was home again. Right? And I went with him to help him selling stuff. So he said, go to that house over there, tell that woman we have cauliflower today. So I had to run to the house and tell the woman, and then she came and bought the cauliflower. So this was my childhood. But also when he was at home and I had my friends over, they were all from the neighborhood, all the little kids, we were allowed to go on the box from the car, like the box.
Yeah.
And he drove us out to a little lake or in the bush in the wilderness, and we were playing there. Yeah, he was really good for children. Really good for children.
Did your mom work too, or no?
She worked in the house. We have a little store, like just a room.
Selling the vegetables too?
Selling the vegetables and potatoes and everything, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your mom. What you remember, what you loved, what you didn't love.
My mom was very strict, and she was the boss. She had to hold everything together. But she was a good person. Really good person. She was my best girlfriend later on then when I was a teenager, yeah.
Do you remember anything that she did that made you think, oh, she's a good person?
Yeah, she helped, as far as I know, 2 people which were dying. She went there to the house and helped the leftover people. She was sitting with the dying people and praying with them, yeah, amazing.
Your parents were Catholic too, right?
Yeah. My father wasn't first. He was Protestant, but he converted to the Catholic faith because my mom was Catholic. In the area where we lived, there were a lot of Lutheran.
Yeah.
But also we had a little Catholic church we went to. Yeah, the church was 1 hour away. We had to walk there.
What do you think you learned from your mom that you kind of remember or hold on to? What did you learn?
My faith. My faith. She was praying with me. And that's what I gave to my children, right? Yeah, she had a lot of faith.
And what about from your dad? What do you think you learned from him?
And honesty. Like, you have to be honest in life.
Any other memories about your parents that you want to talk about?
We had the birthday together. They were born in the same
Really?
Yeah, 1909. 13th of January 1909. Both had the same birthday on the same year.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, there was always a big party.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what did you do at parties?
Oh, my mom made beautiful sandwiches and food, and then they had little liqueurs. And I was going, when I don't know how old I was going around and I had always the last little trip. It was like sweet stuff, liqueurs, right?
Yeah.
And after that I was so sick.
Yeah.
So sick. I went to everybody and got the little last sip.
That's funny. What kind of sweets did they have at the parties? Like cakes and stuff too?
Oh,
or
and my mom made the cake, the torte is beautiful. Yeah, she learned that.
What kind of cake?
Black Forest cake, cheesecake, all kind of cakes. Yeah, she was a good baker.
Okay. Tell me about your siblings and some favorite memories you have growing up together.
I had only one brother. He was 4 years older than me, Hubert. He was a very, very good person. Very good person. He just helped everybody. His friends. Yeah, he was a helper.
And how
But
did
we fought too.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
We
how did
fought
you get
too.
along?
Yeah, we fought too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we made up again. We had to walk to church together.
Do you remember, like at school, would he talk to you and like?
Yeah, we didn't have much time to talk. When I went to school, we got from the teacher, he could punish you with a wooden stick on your fingers.
Oh,
And he had that done, and I was crying with him. I remember that. I was only in grade 1 or 2, 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 6 years old and I was in school, it was just more like a room. And when the sirens went on, it was the war, right? And they had to run to the place underground.
Shelters, yeah.
But after the war, then we had a real school, with classrooms and all the kids there. Yeah.
Do you remember, like, knowing that it was a war and like knowing what was going on?
Yeah, your father was gone. Then towards the end, you had the sirens and the bombs falling and everything. And when the Russian came to our place in our area, this is when the war was over, 1945. But when they were coming in the town, we had to go to the bush, to the trees, and so they wouldn't see us, right? The planes were, oh yeah, it was a bad time. It was
Sounds
bad.
really
It was, yeah. It was a bad time.
Anything else about your siblings that you have? Any other favorite memories with your brother?
Yeah, he went to, Germany was split, and he went when he was about 1920, I think. He went to West Germany to work there. He had it very hard, though. He didn't have occupation. Not skilled. He was not skilled. He drove big trucks and excavating stuff. So he was 1 year away from home, and when he came home, I had a girlfriend by that time. I made a friend in school, in the trading school, and he fell in love with her. And he got married. Yeah. So he took my girlfriend away, and I was jealous of her.
I was gonna say, were you
Because
mad?
after a year being apart, we were just so good to each other. Like, it was different, right? Yeah, and then when he got married, the next day I went to West Germany.
Right after he got married?
Yeah.
Why did you go?
I wanted to have a better life and find a husband. And they were living in our house, my brother and his new wife.
Okay.
And it would never work.
Yeah.
Because I was a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
I was jealous.
That makes sense. Yeah. So you just wanted to leave and get out, go
Yeah.
somewhere else.
That was just good timing.
Grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old were you?
18 and a half, about.
So how did you get settled in West Germany? Did somebody help you?
Yeah. There was a lady, she lived in our area there. She was a cook for the wedding for my brother. She cooked the meals. And she had a son in West Germany. So this was my way out. Because I couldn't go just alone by myself and not find a way, because I grew up in a little village, right? My first time away from home, it was very hard for me. But I couldn't go back. So anyway, she arranged with her son that I was working in his company. It was so hard for me because I was used to working in the office, and there I had to work in the shop.
Right.
For 8 hours sitting and doing plastic bags, like seal them, little plastic bags, one by one, immer mit the foot. It was so hard for me.
Yeah.
And then I had a little room by some Hungarian people, and the relative came and said, so didn't you learn? I said, because I don't like my job. Didn't you learn something? I said, yeah, I know, I'm like in the office, I worked in the office. Well, then we go to the employment office, and by that time I was 19 then. I didn't even know it exists.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. So he took me, and then I found a job. I was so thankful in the office.
Nice.
This is when times got better.
Yeah. What do you remember about, I'm curious, like the little village that you lived in?
Where I grew up, oh yeah, everybody knew everybody. It was just like a one road outside of the village. And there were farmers on one side, and we little guys lived on the other side. Yeah.
Well, what was it called? What was the town called?
The town was Ebersbach.
Right.
Yeah. And the part of the town where we lived was Hempel. Yeah, we were right on the Czechoslovakia border, our property.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But then when the war was over, we couldn't go over the border anymore.
But you could before.
Before we could, there was all trees and blueberries, and we went there in the bush. It was beautiful. But then they had the soldiers standing there, and I don't know if they had mines by that time already, but you couldn't go over anymore. They would have shot you.
So tell me what you remember about your grandparents and what your relationship was like with them.
Okay, from my mother's side, I remember them. I didn't see them too often. Then again, the war was coming to an end. You couldn't go to, they were living in Czechoslovakia, but very close. But you couldn't go over the border anymore. They closed the borders. So I remember more than only my grandma, she came to live with us from my mom's side. She was so beautiful. She was just knitting, all the time knitting socks and scarves and so for us, right? And I remember she taught me how to knit and crochet. And I remember she was always singing beautiful songs. And I was sitting by her legs down there. And yeah, it was the most beautiful lady. So my grandfather passed then away. So my mom was with the reef going to the border, and they wouldn't let her in.
Wow.
Couldn't go. And my grandma died then too. From father's side, there was only the grandfather, I remember, my grandfather. He lived in our house, he lived downstairs, and he was so beautiful, really good man. Grandma, I don't remember it all, she died before. He always bought candies, and I had always a candy, no chocolate, just candies. I cleaned for him, and I made a little Christmas tree for him. He was not Catholic, but when we went to church on Sunday, he said, pray for me too. I remember that, yeah.
How is like Germany, like the culture of Germany different from Canada? Like what do you remember about German culture, German people? Like how do they talk differently? What was different?
In Germany, the people are very critical about what you wear, or if there is a button missing on your coat.
Okay.
Opa's mom, she made a big thing out of it. There was a button missing on a coat. Yeah. They are just so different like we are here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, like what else is kind of different? Like where you would know just like, oh, that person is probably from Germany because...
Yeah, I would know right away.
Yeah.
In the shopping mall, when I go to the shopping mall and I have people from Germany behind me,
Yeah.
I know if they are visitors or if they live here.
Really?
Yes.
How?
When they are visitors, they start talking about you. Because they don't know you speak German too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me in Germany. We were talking English with Opa when we were there for our trip with the little kids.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman behind me said to the husband, now look at the pants she's wearing. It doesn't go any tighter anymore. Like I had tight pants with bell bottoms. I felt so good with a big sweater on, right? On a boat. It was on a boat cruise. And then I looked around. They are talking about you constantly.
Yeah. Huh. Judging.
Criticizing.
Yeah.
Criticizing. And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there parts that are, like when you came here, that you're like, oh, I miss this part of the people from Germany?
No. Nothing.
No.
We got so used to it right away.
Yeah.
In Canada, we just loved it. We had our own little apartment, a flat.
Yeah.
And then we had a house. It was just so beautiful, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wait, I'm gonna go back in time again. What were you like as a kid, as a child? Do you remember what you were like?
I don't want to say it.
Say it!
A little devil.
How do you know? What do you remember?
I was just like happy and doing things all the time. Like, yeah.
Did you
I
get
was
into
happy,
trouble?
I was singing. No, not so much. We were so free over there. We
Yeah.
were outside playing, running around. We did little things which we shouldn't have done. With the neighbors, ring the bell and run away, right?
Yeah.
Or they had the farmers. They had a big machine where they washed the potatoes. At night time we went there. We put rocks in there, and then we this for all like iron thing or something.
Yeah.
So we made it going. The noise at night time, especially. So we did all those nice little things.
Little pranks.
Yeah, little pranks.
That's funny.
Yeah. Or we put in a piece of thread, we put a wallet on the street or behind the hedge. And when the person came, wanted to pick up the wallet, we pulled it. All this little thing was beautiful. We had so much fun outside, not watching TV and looking at iPads and stuff.
Yeah.
We grew up so free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was different about the parenting back then? Like, what did your parents do differently? That's so different from now.
Well, my mom was strict. Like when I did something what she didn't like.
Yeah. But did she know where you were when you were out playing, or?
Yes, I don't think so. We were all in the neighborhood. We were all like this. We were all kids running around.
Yeah.
All my age, but older a little bit.
So nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else about when you were a kid? Do you remember what you liked to wear, what your favorite color was, those kind of things?
We ran barefoot. There were no shoes available. After the war, everything was shortage of.
Yeah.
So we went barefoot to the school.
Yeah.
On the stones up the hill.
But not in winter.
Not in the winter, no. In the winter time I had my mom's boots on. Yeah. I didn't have boots.
Yeah.
It was a shortage of stuff.
Yeah. Wow. What made you want to come to Canada with the two kids?
For a better life. For a better life, because we heard from a colleague, this is in the book too, from Opa, how Canada is, how beautiful it is. He went visiting here. And this is where he said we go to. Since the parents, they were in East Germany, we couldn't see them often. just once in a while for a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
So this why we decided
Mm-hmm.
to come to Canada. And it was the right step,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and we loved it here, and I still do.
What do you remember about how you got here?
No, but I remember the the coming over, and the ocean was terrible.
Were you on like a big ship?
Big ship, yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
The waves,
Mm.
storms
Yeah.
for 10 days. And then we came to Quebec City.
Mm-hmm.
We got out there, and then the people we were riding to, they waited for us. He waited for us on the train station in Toronto, and he took us home.
Right.
We could stay there a week in their basement. It was like beds.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
It was not so easy, right?
No.
1 week, and then he found us a little place to live. Yeah, and that is how it started, coming all together.
How did you get settled in Canada, and who helped you along the way?
This was the brother of the guy Opa worked with in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
The brother, he was visiting here. And he helped us. He helped us a lot
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't know English. This was Benny and Grete. Grete actually got a job for Opa. I think the second day we were in Canada here, he went to work for a Swiss company. There are a lot of people speaking German there, right? So we didn't know any English. It was scary, the language.
Yeah. How did you learn English?
Well, I learned it actually from Harold. I learned it from the TV, or newspaper, reading, and listening to the advertisement. And then once we had the second house, we rented out a room. And there was a girl, young lady moving in. She was my age, in the 30s, I think. And she was a talker. When she came home from work, she talked. And I said, please, when I say something, I say it wrong, correct me. She taught me a lot too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of looking back at your family and moving from Germany? What are you most proud of?
Before Opa died, yeah, I'm proud of my families, all of them, all of them.
Did you ever think you would leave Germany, like when you were younger?
Yeah, I was always. If I wouldn't have met Opa, I would have probably ended up in Australia.
Really? Why Australia?
Just people talking about it, and it sounded so good. Yeah.
You were like, Australia,
I
warm.
I was ready to do something when I was young.
What is the most brave thing you have ever done?
After Opa passed away. Yeah. Most brave thing. I don't know if it is brave, but I bought the trailer, sold the cottage, bought the trailer. I bought my condo, getting out of the house. I think I made good decisions, a lot of good decisions for myself. I'm proud of that too.
Okay.
Yeah, without asking
Yeah.
the children. Yeah.
What major events do you remember from your childhood? So like, do you remember the end of the war? What do you remember?
Yeah, I remember the end of the war. That happened when the Russian came to our area, right? We had to go in the bush, out in the bush, so they wouldn't see us because people died there too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, there was one lady that she was sitting in the grass, and we went to the trees, okay? And she was sitting in, what are you doing? Why are you going there? The war is over. And they found her then dead.
Oh.
She was hit. 61, they built the wall. I remember that because Harold was born in 1961. It was a big thing. with
Did
the
you know
border.
why they were doing it?
But the Russian,
Yeah.
the east side, yeah, the communists.
Yeah.
But that time I was already in West Germany,
Mhm.
right?
Tell me your favorite food ever. That was a practice question.
The favorite food is mashed potatoes.
Uh-huh.
Because when I met your Opa, he told me the first evening when we were walking in the park that this is his favorite food.
Oh.
And I said, mine too. And then he said, oh, that's a reason to get married to you. It's really true. That's a true story.
That's okay. About that. Okay. Can we talk about Opa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did you meet Opa?
Opa I met in West Germany by a Tanz cafe. In the afternoon, 5 o'clock, was there Tanz. And I promised the girlfriend I would go with her there. I didn't want to go, but I went anyway. This is where I met Opa.
On a dance.
On a dance in the afternoon. Love first sight. It works too. Yeah, amazing.
Do you remember what you noticed about him or what you loved about him?
Yeah, he was so kind. He showed me a picture the first day from my future mother-in-law. He was just in Berlin for a visit, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I showed me pictures and then this is my mom and this is my brother. Amazing. And then we went for a walk in the park after the dance. It was afternoon, right? Just to go for a walk a little bit in the park. And then came the mashed potatoes up.
Love it.
Yeah.
What do you know about Opa's childhood?
Opa had a very hard childhood because he had one brother. He was 8 years older than him. And he was mother's helper. The father didn't come back from the war. So the mom really put all her thing together for the brother was her helper, right? Because he was 8 years older. Yeah. He had it very hard with his brother. They didn't get along at all. This is why he went away. When he was 16 and a half years old, he had his occupation and then he went away from home.
He left home at 16.
He left home at 16 and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Did he move far away?
Oh, across the border.
Oh.
He was living in Berlin, born in Berlin, East Berlin. And then there was the border, but not the wall yet. You still were able to go over
Okay.
freely. Till they built the wall, 61.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where he left, and then they flew him. He couldn't travel through the Germany with a bus or anything. They flew him to Stuttgart, where I was waiting for him. I was there.
Do you remember how did he like ask you to marry him in a way, or did you guys just, what did it look like?
No, he wrote a letter to my mom, to my parents. Yeah.
And then
It's the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
No, and then he came and he said, would you like to marry me? Yeah.
They didn't have rings back then, right? That's a new
Didn't
thing.
have a ring. I got my little diamond ring in Canada after we had already 2 children. Yeah.
Cool.
I got a little diamond and I lost it by my trailer in the garden.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, what's something you always want to remember about Opa?
About Opa.
You want us to remember?
He sure looked after his family. Yeah, we did a lot of stuff together. We bought cottage. We bought a boat and we had nice times on Lake Simcoe. He was always doing things there because you had the chance. In Germany there was nothing. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't even think about buying a house or something.
Right.
The first excitement was the first house we bought. Our own house. Tiny little thing. It's more like a castle for us. Yeah.
What are your favorite memories with Opa in the early days?
The favorite memories. Oh, he was so kind when he came. He had to go with bus and streetcar when he came to visit me or we met somewhere. He always had a little gift for me. Either an apple or a nice beautiful pear or some chocolates or some flowers. He always had something, a little gift for me. I found that so beautiful. Yeah, and he was Protestant too.
Mm-hmm.
And one day he came and I would have married him even if he would have stayed in his faith. But then he said, well, if we later on when we have children, wouldn't it be better if I go to the Catholic faith?
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't very happy about that. So we went to the priest, yeah, and he was baptized and went to confession. Yeah. It was beautiful. Yeah, I had a beautiful life.
How long did you guys date until you got engaged?
Oh, we met in April and we got engaged at the beginning of August.
Okay.
But he was only 20 then. We wanted to be married, so we went to you need the permission from your parents, his mom at that time. But she was far away, right? So we had to go to the mayor in that little town where we were. Had to go to the mayor and Opa went there and said, we like to get married. And he said, so when is the baby coming? Why you want to get married? You're going to be 21 in the 19th of January. Why do you want to be married now?
Yeah.
And Opa said, there's no baby coming, but we want to be together as husband and wife Christmas.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we got married.
Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Any rituals or traditions from your childhood or life in Germany that you remember? Like I mean, you talked about the birthday party already, but any other like memories from Christmas time or things that you remember?
Oh yeah.
What did you do at Christmas?
We went to church.
Mm-hmm.
And then we came home and we were allowed to go in the living room. The living room was closed most of the time in the winter because it was cold and there no heating.
Okay.
So there was a Christmas tree, real candles on the tree. And yeah, and then we got our gifts.
Do you remember what
I got
gifts you got?
my doll I got, just new dresses on.
Yeah.
Scarf, mittens and hat. That's what like homemade stuff, right? There was not much, not like the day when the children opened their gifts.
Do you remember the favorite gift that you ever got for a birthday or Christmas? Or?
Yeah, favorite gift were a little doll because I saw it in the closet already a few years. And I always was hoping I would get it. I was sneaking around, okay, looking for stuff that Mom was hiding or whatever, right? So I saw that beautiful little dress, pink dress, all little baby. Oh my gosh! And I always wanted it. Finally, I got it.
What do you remember? What you did on Easter church?
Easter, fine, church again, and then the grass was growing really high in Germany at that time. And this is where we were looking outside around the house for our Easter egg or our crayons. Yeah, little Easter eggs or candies or so. They were in the grass, in the high grass, like what Mom grows. But it was the real grass we had.
Cool. Was it eggs? Like hard-boiled eggs? Like what were the eggs?
Hard-boiled eggs, yeah.
Colored or just eggs?
No, they were colored, but it was not any color around. It was just brown from the peel of the onions. We cooked them in there. And from red brick, there came color out.
Yeah.
And then some more white. I think that was it. Yeah.
Cool. Did you have chocolate a lot when you were a child? It was probably hard to get, right?
There was no chocolate.
Yeah.
They sold something, it was not even close to chocolate. Yeah. This came later when the borders were open for when you could go to Berlin. This is when I or 16 years I went to Berlin. This is where I got chocolate.
Do you
Nice
remember?
leather shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you had a good chocolate?
Yeah. And the banana too.
Oh.
I was 16.
How do you think your childhood, like how you grew up, shaped you now? So like what do you think you learned in childhood that made you who you are now?
Yeah, I learned from my parents. The faith is a big thing. It's the best gift. Parents can give it to you. Oh, this is what I still do. It's my praying corner here. I pray. So me, the most important thing, go to Mass. Yeah, I have the time.
How did you feel when you found out you were going to be a parent? Do you remember telling Opa? Do you remember when you knew you were going to have a baby?
Oh, I was in shock. All alone, no mother. How do I do that, right? But then the doctor told me you are pregnant, and I don't know how far I was when we talked about it. It was beautiful. He loved every minute of it. Yeah, we were excited then. I just didn't know how I can do it. So I bought a book, The Mother on Her First Child, a tiny little book. And I learned everything out of it. And then we came home from the hospital. I couldn't even take the little jacket off Harold. Opa did it. He gave him a bath then when he was able to have a bath. He did it all for me, and I looked at it. Amazing, yeah. He was good.
Do you remember what you were worried about when you became a parent?
Yeah, how to do it all. How can I have a baby? It went okay. I didn't go to work anymore, of course. I stayed home.
If you could go back in time to a time when you were worried about your future, what's going to happen? Like maybe when you moved to Canada or when you left home for the first time, what would you want to say to yourself then? Like if you could travel back in time.
When I was worried about doing the big step,
Sure.
the biggest step for me was worrying step when I went away from my parents to another country. I knew I couldn't come back. I could not come back.
So if you could travel back to yourself then, what would you say?
You did well. You did it. It was hard, but I did it. The next step going to Canada, I had my husband and we were doing it together.
Yeah, wasn't as scary.
No.
Yeah.
Tiny little bit that everything goes well, but there again, I had my faith.
Can you name a time that made you reassured in your faith? So like something that was like, oh, God is listening to me, or...
Oh, every time.
All the time.
All the time. All the time. Yeah. Because I gave my children the faith, and I know my children gave their children the faith. And there's not many people going anymore to church.
You worry about that.
Yeah, this is why I pray a lot.
Already answered. What do you hope that your children and your grandchildren learned from you?
Being honest. Don't forget about God. Because everybody needs Him. The Lord right now in that time, a lot of people come back to God too, in that time we live now, right? And I pray. I pray for my family, that's what I do.
What do you wish for your growing family?
I wish that you all make it through it.
And how would they do that?
Oh, Michelle, that's a hard question. I know the answer. I wish you would going back to church and pray.
Faith.
Here's what I found.
Oh, so
Siri found the answer for you.
now to go back to church after not going.
She said that.
She said that.
That's what Siri says.
Church after not going in so long. Yeah, it's all in here too.
Siri knows.
And if I wouldn't have had my faith, I think I wouldn't have made it so far.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense why it's so important to you.
Yeah, that's the most important thing in my life. Yeah. And God was good to me. Look at me, like, no worries, right?
Mm-hmm.
I worry a little bit when somebody is sick or so, but the rest of it, I have such a good life in Canada. We had a good life in Opa too. Yeah. Yeah, amazing.
What do you hope people remember about you one day when you are gone?
Now you make me cry. I don't know. I hope you remember me and pray for me. My kitties.